Welcome back to another episode of All Talk Punters and Dribblers. Pumped for this one.
Horny.
Pumped and horny, horny and pumped. Now, our guest today is the fastest human in Australia.
Think about that. Let that settle in. The fastest human in Australia.
And is he second fastest we've ever produced?
Second fastest all time after the great Patrick Johnson. He's run a scintillating 10:01 at the Olympics, no less.
Mm-hmm.
A terrific stand-up Australian.
Terrific young man.
Yeah. Really...
An impressive young man.
Really impressive, Tom. Really impressive young man. World's at his feet.
Yeah.
But humble.
Humble.
Grounded.
But
quick.
Quick, humble and grounded. Beautiful mullet. Beautiful man. Let's not waste any more of your time. Rohan Browning.
You are listening to the Hello Sport podcast.
So you saw a Jarchi video.
I saw a Jarchi video. And I liked it. I thought he was funny as.
Yeah, he's funny. He's just a mate from uni.
Yeah, right.
And now he's a TikTok star.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a TikTok star, which is weird to say.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it all started with him just doing videos of him picking up echidnas and shit.
Yeah.
And then it was like...
Well, that's the one that kicked him off, Eddie the Echidna. He saw it on the side of the road and patted it, and all the Yanks loved it.
So you knew about Jarchi before we had him on? And then he was on the potty and he shared it.
Yeah. I knew his videos from Instagram,
Yeah.
Reels, but I'm not on TikTok.
No.
Well, I'm on it, but I don't have the app. I made an account once and
Silencing the
What'd you
phone.
put on? What'd you put up?
nothing.
Nothing.
You got nothing up
I
there?
tried to chop together. After the Olympics, TikTok asked me to make an account. And I
TikTok
thought maybe
asked
I
you to
should-
make an account?
Yeah, TikTok Australia asked me to make an account.
Okay.
And I thought maybe I should. So I did. And after about 15 seconds of scrolling through, I just could feel my brain turn to mush.
Yeah.
So I deleted it quite
Without
quickly.
obviously asking about your commercials. But do they go, we'll pay you to make one? Or are they just make one and we'll...
They say make one, we'll verify it.
They,
So I think
so
I-
So then you can get the tick out the
Yeah.
gates.
they honey dick you with a tick. Does the tick make any difference in TikTok?
Tick's a tick, I think.
A tick is a tick. We
Yeah.
aren't ticked. You're ticked, obviously, on Instagram.
I think it gives you more credibility.
Oh,
maybe.
shit, yeah.
We've never gone looking for a tick, not like a deep dive into a tick, but I wouldn't say no to a tick
I'd like a tick, but I'm not going to go and ask for one.
because I know what the answer would be.
Well, also, we got friends who are in this space who have looked for a tick. Pull that close to your face as well, so.
I think you have to ask for one now. I think that's the new...
Yeah, you've got to
you
ask
do?
for one. No, you've got to ask for
I
one.
didn't ask for one.
No, well, fucking,
Well,
I hope not.
I'd
I'd be.
just turn up one day and had one.
And you had a
But I
tick.
think now you have to ask for one.
Oh, you just rocked up ticked.
Yeah,
One day you were ticked. Post-Olympics? Were you ticked pre-Olympics?
pre-Olympics, yeah.
Oh, shit, dude.
I think it was post-2018 Commonwealth Games,
Okay.
Post Comm games.
which tells me they're watching.
Yeah, they're paying attention. But then there are some people like Brad Parker of the Manly Seagulls, who's been a phenomenal rugby league footballer for many years, who still can't get a tick.
Well, he's been unticked for some time.
And it's been one of our earliest social media sort of campaigns was to try and get Brad Parker a blue tick. It fell on deaf ears.
It did fall on deaf ears.
How old are you?
24.
24. World at the feet. How good's that? When did you... have you been... I mean, I would assume you've been fast you were a fast kid as well, right? Is that something that... did you always have it?
Were you fast out of the womb?
How long was labour?
I did. I was good at the school level.
Yeah.
How good?
Yeah,
I'd
prodigy
win.
good?
Not prodigious, but better than my peers.
Yes.
Would you win
At the
nationals?
school level? No way. I'd win the school carnival, and I'd go zone, state, and just get rolled in at state.
You get rolled at
kids
state.
who early developers,
Yeah.
Would you get out of
over
the
keen trainers, pushy parent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Offspring.
okay.
Would you get out of the heats at state? I'm just trying to see was I you at one point?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, what could you have been?
Yeah.
Did you have a bit of natural go?
Yeah, I did, and then it fell off me.
Yeah, okay.
He likes to think he did.
Well, still, I was a state runner, Tom.
Were you a state
Yeah.
sprinter?
Yeah.
Fuck, it must have been a shit year.
You get those. You get soft years.
I was 9. So.
Well, I was good right up until I'd never lost a school carnival right up until year 8.
You never lost a school carnival.
Not a school carnival.
So you were a goer then, like you could run.
Yeah,
You
I
could
was
run.
all right. And that was the year Simon Baker got me, not the Mentalist.
I was gonna say.
Simon Baker of most jack kid in year 8 fame, and he just rolled me that year. And
Does that still burn?
no, not these days.
I mean, you do remember Simon Baker of overly jacked, 14-year-old fame. Like,
Yeah.
It sounds like he still looms large in the mind. When did you then start to get fast? Start winning state. Start rolling people.
Well, I never trained. I didn't like it. I did 1 year of Little A's. Hated it.
Did you?
Yeah, I got this terrible memory of tripping over in the hurdles and calling it a day pretty well. Always liked team sports. I played footy and different things.
Winger.
Yeah, back throw.
Yeah.
Rugby union.
Yeah.
But about 16 was when I got good.
But
I had a breakthrough.
Are you getting? But you're getting good from training, I would imagine. Like you don't just, or is that like a pubes kicking in? And then
Yeah,
you
I think a
start
bit of
to
that. I think a bit of that. But I think this is the thing across all sports. You get these kids who are just so good so young because they're massive.
Yeah.
And where do they end up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, it's the old fate of the man child, right? Like they come and they dominate and they win well. And they sort of burnt into your mind. I'm still thinking about a couple of man childs of note.
I remember Tussy from Campbelltown, big Islander fella, terrifying.
Yeah.
Used to have nightmares thinking about him.
There's a guy named Travis Roach from Dubbo. He's a year above me, but he was so manly at a young age. He just dominated.
Leg hair used to intimidate me at a certain age when you're like, oh, fuck, I don't have that.
I remember once, if you're watching on the YouTube, he was at a carnival, like a Little A's carnival, and he had his 2 siblings on his legs going like that. And I just remember going, oh my.
Oh, like flexing he was doing leg weights.
Yeah, like leg weights with his siblings.
What is that exercise called? You're a fitness guy. I mean, you're a runner, but.
Leg extension?
Yep. A leg extension.
With children on
with children on each leg. And I remember thinking then, no one's going to beat this bloke.
No.
It's impossible.
Tough. Yeah, that's fine.
But did he make it?
Well, that's the thing. It's the fate of the man child.
That's the fate of the man child. He
Right,
didn't make it, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're not interviewing him.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Well, he might have been
I'd like
slow.
to.
He might have been real slow.
Well, he might not have turned into a sprinter, but I mean, he could have gone on to football greatness, but didn't. That's the fate of the man child. It comes too easy. So when you start to, I guess, I'm going to assume it's hit puberty, pubes en route, do you then, that's what I was saying before, do you start training because you're quicker, or do you just notice I'm actually getting faster and I'm not doing anything to try and get faster? I like this now.
Yeah, a bit of that. I mean, I played. So, like I said, I played rugby, and I was decent, but my best asset was raw pace. Not so much the positional play or whatever. I'm not sure I was bringing too much else to the table. Just got better, got in the gym, started lifting weights through those teen years, and got better as a sprinter. And then I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like this process of attrition, I think. Other kids drop off and you get better, and the man-child becomes increasingly irrelevant.
Yeah.
And I probably started training when I was 14, 15.
Were you sprinting the whole time? Were you playing team sports in the weekend? You didn't do much Little A's, but how were you aware of your speed on the track?
The clock.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Were you through school?
Yeah,
or were you
yeah.
going out there and just training and getting your old man on the stopwatch?
No, nothing like that. It's just the school carnival, I think, is where it probably all started for me. There's that pathway, zone, state, whatever, regionals, whatever, nationals.
Do people do you start getting identified then around 15, 16, where people start going hey, bro, you're pretty goddamn fast? What were you running? What was your 100 when you were 15?
Honestly, I have no idea.
I could probably tell you what mine was. It wasn't great.
Well, I know
I know my quickest.
I know my quickest. It was like 11:90 something,
Yeah, mine was.
and it was hand timed.
Mine was hand timed.
It could have been anything.
I think mine was, and this is probably wrong, but I remember I've got 11:59 in my head.
Fuck off.
I'm sorry, I might have been quicker than you. That's all I'm saying.
And that
if
was
you-
at what, 15?
No, that was probably 18 when I was
Yeah.
playing footy. If you break, we, in our opinion, if you break 12 or 11, is it breaking?
Breaking 12.
If you break 12 as just like a fucking nobody, you're essentially breaking 10 or 9.
Well, it's like the dribbler's sub 10 is sub 12.
Yeah.
Because if you're breaking sub 11, you're running like a 10 something. You're like semi-pro. That's pretty elite.
Yeah. I think sub 12, nobody's writing songs about you.
No.
No.
But at sub 11, you're getting a bit more credit for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. You've probably trained a bit to get there, though. I think if you can break 12 naturally, no training,
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was training.
this.
It wasn't a natural breaking of a 12. Like, there was no natural about it. It was I was working my dick.
Do you remember the first time you broke 11?
Yeah, I do. So that year I'd played footy through. The start of that year we had like our nationals. I think I'd run 11.3. I was 16. And that was where puberty set in for me, like that 16 to 17 year.
Yeah.
Played rugby through the off season. Couldn't break into the school first 15. Politics. And in the end, you know, I was pretty jaded. Had like a bit of a growth spurt, a bit of a strength boost. I don't know, like just started training, taking it a bit more seriously. So I'd run 11.3 at the start of the year. By September, I'd run 10.90. That was first time sub 10. Sub 11, sorry. And then I went like 10.4, 10.3, wind assisted, 10.18. I just had this like
At what
huge, like meteoric rise at 16.
Damn it.
You ran sub 11 and then a 10-14,
10.18.
10-18 in the same year.
Yeah. Like it was just
Oh
absurd.
my God.
It was just absurd.
So there, at that point, people are going, oh, this kid's...
I think that's when I got on the radar in this country. But had a few years in the wilderness then, like just could not come near that. It was just this day where, you know, the stars aligned. It was just like big tailwinds. It was hot, good conditions. I don't know. It was just hyped up.
It's funny, like I was thinking about this before, that like improvement in sprinting is so infinitesimal. Like it's tiny, whereas, you know, I guess, like, you know, if you're saying doing a long distance run or something like that, where like you can actually improve quite significantly and cut like large portions of your time, is that difficult to deal with or to try and like keep you motivated when you do have like a great day like that and then you just don't come even near it again for a long time?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, and that's the thing about the sport is like the conditions are such a big part of it. So, you know, you want to run your season's best at the major championship. But most people don't, just because, you know, usually it's run in the evening, you're in a big stadium, the winds are a bit more nullified. Yeah, I think the margins in the sport are really what define it. It's what makes it so hard, because it's just about that neuromuscular condition that you turn up in on the day. You know, it's
What the
like-
fuck does that mean?
Well, you know, it's how sharp are you feeling? What sort of state are you in? You know,
Neuromuscular condition.
Yeah.
I like that. But so what is, can you, like, is that how you literally feel in your muscles? Is that sort of like what that means?
No, it's not that at all. It's more like I'd say it's more like just the state of your nervous system. You got to be like sort of peaked in training and then well rested. That's when you're
That's
ready
when
to
you-
perform.
So like, do you put a huge amount of emphasis on your NMC?
Yeah, massive. Everything, I'd say almost everything I do in a day comes down to that NMC and how do I get that up? How do I get that way up?
Do you have a metric for your NMC? Like, is there a grading for it?
No, there's no grading. Actually, sorry, there is a grading.
Okay, there you
It's
go.
called rate of perceived exertion. So I jot that down every day, like how I'm feeling out of 10. And that's just like one of the factors.
Yeah.
So I diarise all my training and everything and
Yeah.
how I'm feeling. Yeah.
So how involved is, like, do you have another gig? What's the go with sort of like, I guess being a professional athlete like you are, but in the sort of athletics field where obviously during Olympic periods it's fucking massive in Australia. And I know you're doing there's like all these like world events around the world. Like, what do you do in between the bigger events? Do you have to do any other work or anything like that, or are you just like full-time athlete?
Well, I'm a full-time athlete. I'm at uni, like plugging away.
What are you studying?
I'm doing law.
Nice.
Wow.
But it's been slow. It's been a slow.
Well, you've been running for the nation, so
process,
we'll forgive that.
Well, if you're running for the nation, it's all forgiven. As far as I'm
5 years. I did
Yeah.
5 years for a 3 degree, and I was not running for the nation. So, I'll forgive it.
Yeah, I'm prepared to forgive it.
Yeah.
100%. So how does that all work? Is it sponsorship based? You get grants from like the government?
Sponsors, big part.
Yep.
Puma and True Protein.
There you go. I was about to
Thank
say
you,
this.
guys.
Shout 'em out.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I got some good sponsors. Like products that I get around, believe in. So
Yes.
yeah, it's one of those things. Like, it's just because it's such a truly global sport, like globally accessible sport.
Yeah.
That's what makes it tough.
Yeah.
It's just that competitive marketplace, I suppose. Especially in my event now, like it's becoming a lot more global. The best talents out of the United States and Jamaica, like it has been, but it's also out of China and Japan, Africa, the United Kingdom. So it really is much more global. And dare I say, Australia.
Yeah.
On the rise, but
There we
there we
go. There we go.
But there's a lot more good guys on the Australian circuit now who are doing really well. So I mean, it's that sort of rising tide, I suppose.
How is the Australian market placed at the moment? I mean, you're doing really, really well. Obviously, Jack Hale's another name.
That was the name that came to
The
mind. but I'm like,
Tasmanian kid.
he got a lot of coverage.
He
did
got a lot of
Jack.
because he was quick young.
Was he jumping Jack Hale, or am I making that nickname up?
Well, the Jumping Jacks, I believe, a basketball team
NBL, Tasmania. That
in
might be it.
Tasmania. Maybe,
Jack Jumpers.
yeah. And you might be
Awful name,
you might
no
be getting
disrespect.
Jumping Jai Tarima mixed up with Jumping
There's
Jack
a fucking
Hale.
lot of jumping.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where are we sitting? Because obviously Tom and I came up in the halcyon days of Patrick Johnson and Matt Shervington. Like, they're the big names we remember growing up. Obviously, you're a bit younger than us, but how are we placed as a sprinting nation right now?
I'd say on the rise for sure. On the rise for sure. There's good coaches, good talent coming through, some good young talent coming through. Obviously those guys. I mean, Pat Johnson's still got the national record. Like and it's a stiff national record.
What is it?
9-9.
3. Yeah.
I would have got it.
9-9-3. So
Of
it's
course he's
tough,
got
you
it.
know. Yeah, it's
Yeah, right. So that's a. Have you ever broken 10 in like a training or a wind assist or anything like that?
Yeah, wind assisted in Wollongong around 996 last year. Last year.
What was the wind?
I actually can't remember. I want to say 2.4, but I think that's too generous. The max you can have is 2. It might have been 3 point something.
So the max you can have is 2, and the record count is that
Yeah.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Right. So it was a bit more than that.
It was, it might have been 3 point something. Like it was.
That's what I mean. It's all just so.
It doesn't really
small.
matter anyway. It's all sort of. It was, I mean, it helps. The wind helps for sure.
Do you think it doesn't help as much as maybe it's given credit for in those things, or like?
Oh, I think it probably is.
You think it does?
Yeah, big time.
Sorry, we're the only place with fucking bar flies that isn't actually a bar. Could be because of
So
the,
you don't go to bed at night having run 996 in Wollongong wind assisted, being like, I broke 10 today.
Yeah, I was pumped with it because it was sort of like it's this barrier for sure, 10 seconds. Sort of if you're north of it, you're on the radar, but you're not a big deal. But once you go sub, you join a much more exclusive club.
sub club.
Yeah, the sub 10 club, and everybody wants to be a part of that club if you're in the industry.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things. I would have liked to have done it a long time ago, but
Shervo
still
never
haven't.
broke 10, did he?
10:01.
10.
no, he 10:03.
10:03. Good Lord, that's close.
All cock though, that guy. It's tough.
Well, it slowed him down.
Yeah.
It slowed him down,
Big time.
which is unfortunate. What's your best?
Oh, 10:01.
Your 10:01.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does that burn?
was that
Again, 'cause
in
it's
the
good, but
heats?
like,
Was that in the heats of the Olympics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't burn. I don't know. I guess you just get used to those margins, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you sign up for.
It is what it is.
Like sometimes you're on the right. Sometimes you get the rub of the green. Sometimes you don't. Like you're on the right. Just the clock is what it is. should have run quicker at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very simple sport. You know, it's
Run
hard to
fast.
just
Be fast.
it's hard to overcomplicate it.
If you were to run that heat at the Olympics again, where do you think you could have made up time? Like, was there something that you didn't get quite right?
You know, I think at the time it was probably as good a race as I've ever run for the shape that I was in at that moment. It's probably nothing I'd change. I mean, that was my best run ever. So,
Yeah.
you know, I like to think, you know, you just progress. Like, it's a bit of an older man's game. It takes years to just get that load into you, get robust enough, you know.
What sort of condition were you in at the time? You should have mentioned that just then.
Well, I was in best condition I'd been in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But compared to now, so.
Well, now I'm out of condition, I'd say. I mean, I'm in off season now, so I'm just in the process of like building.
Yeah.
I won't look to race again until, you know, maybe like February or March on the Australian circuit. You asked before, the competitions run pretty globally. Like, obviously our summer's at the wrong end of the year, so in terms of the major championship, which is almost always in the Northern Hemisphere. So there's a circuit in Japan, there's a circuit that runs through Europe, competitions in North America. But yeah, you got to travel a lot, you got to be overseas for a fair while.
When did you start then, from when you were like teen, when did you then go, I mean, not even necessarily professional, but like start to compete in the big boy stakes? Like, you know.
Only really the past couple of years. I think it would have been earlier if not for COVID. But I just had injuries every year. Like, I got these congenitally bad knees. I think the diagnosis is fucked knees. And
Dude, I've got the same thing. It's
Yeah.
probably why I've been held back.
Yeah, maybe.
What? Just dodgy knees.
yeah, just knees that give me issues every year. So like just getting cortisone injections every year to just get on top of inflammation and stuff like that. So,
I got cortisone injections recently to help me run the marathon. Terrific.
and you made it through?
Yeah, I did. I got IT
I didn't
B
get any
issues.
injections, and my knees were fucked as well.
Yeah.
I did.
But
shelve
they-
a
but you-
couple-
but you
shelved a
try-
couple of
you did-
Panadeine forwards.
Yeah, you might have tried.
I did try. They didn't give them to me, bastards.
Yeah.
But so you say COVID fucked you, like in terms of getting like the timeline to get to the big boys. But so then when you're 18, when you finish school, what are you doing? Like, are you going straight into are you still training after school? Is there like a pathway from when you finish? Because you're 24, right?
It's pretty siloed, to be honest. There's a lot of different coaches around, but it's all quite siloed. Yeah, I mean, I was just training with my coach, who's my high school coach, Murph. And
Shout out to Murph.
Yeah, shout out to Murph. Like, Murph's been there. Like, he was the one who got me into the sport to begin with.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's been my only ever coach.
Hectic.
And,
That's cool. So he's like a high school coach now, coaching an Olympic runner.
Yeah.
Did he work at the high school you went to, or did
He
you
did. He did, yeah. He was there, and that's
That's
how
a
we-
nice story.
Yeah, I like that.
What's Murph's background?
Triple
Sprinting.
jumper.
Triple jumper.
Yeah, went to 3 Olympics in his own right.
Oh,
Did he really?
Yeah.
cool.
So
And
Murph
he
was a great
first
athlete.
Olympian.
I believe so. Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
But definitely I was a blank canvas when he got stuck into me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's pretty hectic though, right? Like, you know,
I like that.
there's a
you've got
bit
the
of
same
like,
coach.
there's a bit. I can see a film in that. I'm not going to write it. I don't have enough time, but I can see.
Well, if you win gold for the nation, there's a film there.
Yeah, maybe not a film, maybe like an Amazon documentary like the
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like a
they're
biopic.
the films of the day.
They are.
They pay big. What's his name? Not Zuckerberg.
Bezos.
Thank you, D or Dave. So just quickly, Dave, before we do, Karen, could you go get the open bottle of Big Day Rosé?
Thank you,
from
mate.
the,
That'd be nice. And maybe some ice, please, buddy.
Maybe some. I don't know. Maybe it's cold enough. So, what was the, I guess, catalyst after school, Murph training you to where, like, I'm just trying to work out where the jump is from, like, all right, this kid, you've got talent, you're fast, but there's obviously other fast people. Like, what is the thing that gets you to start competing? Was Commonwealth Games your first national event?
Yeah, that was a big one. The Commonwealth Games was a big one in 2018 because it was like home crowd, first national team.
Was it
Well,
Brisbane?
sorry, I'd made a national team in 2017 with the relay, but the Commonwealth Games was my first run in the individual 100.
Yeah. Was that Brisbane? Was it
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast?
Yeah. And that was the taste. Like, that was just a bit of dessert that got me sucked in, I think.
Yeah, right. And how'd you go?
Came 9th.
Okay.
It was, I ran all right. I think it's probably reflective
take
of
it,
where I
thanks,
was
bro.
at that point. So, yeah, it was that was a big one. And then the teams I made were 2017 world champs in the relay, 2018 the 100 in the relay, 2019 the 100 had a shocker, ran like dead last, almost
Really?
in my heat. Yeah.
And when you have those sort of things, you know what, like...
Yeah, I'd just been sick and I'd been injured all year and I just wasn't in shape. Went there. It was a miserable experience beginning to end. Like, I got gastro a couple of weeks before. I lost weight. I was in this town in Austria where I was just like throwing up constantly.
Great.
Couldn't compete. Flew back to the training camp, which was in northern Italy, this town called Gavarate, and went to Worlds just knowing I was not in the mix. And really struggled there. Came back, I'd run basically dead last. I think one guy tore his hammy in the race. He's the only guy I beat. I came like 40th.
I thought you were going to say you lost to him. I was like, oh, that must have been a bad day. Good God.
It was a bad day regardless.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is it was in Doha and like you couldn't even go out and have beer afterwards. My old man flew over. He's a really straight bastard. And he said to me like, by the time we get home, I've spent 3 hours on a plane for every 1 second I watched you run.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah,
Good to have you here.
And then we went up to the bar at the Hilton for a beer, $25.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
right.
So it was a miserable sort of endeavour beginning to end, but like fueling, you know. So I came back from that and I was pretty keen on the Olympics 2020 and then just all got delayed, so I just trained through.
Have you got siblings?
Yeah, I got 2 younger brothers.
They quick?
They're not bad.
Sounds like an older brother not prepared to gas them up.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
Like,
not yet.
Was there any inkling growing up from either your family or siblings or like, you know, extended family that you'd be the second fastest Australian of all time?
No, definitely not.
Like, that's pretty wild.
Mum and Dad I don't think they would overstate their athletic abilities, but the running joke is that like I was an IVF baby and there was a mix-up in the lab. So, but I mean, you know, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
My
they
brothers
ever
are pretty sporty, like they're, you know, but they're not like super serious about it. Like,
How much older or how much younger? Sorry.
recently 18 and
Okay.
20.
Okay, yeah. So they're not going for international sprinting.
Nah, that's not their thing.
Yeah, it's not their vibe. And what about do your parents like ever give you advice? Your old man like, bruh, you fucked up. Yeah, you know, your
all, cadence was off today.
Cadence was all off.
Nah. My parents were always good. Especially Dad. Like he was just, you know, he's a massive sports fan. Loves his rugby.
Union.
Rugby union. He's a huge Brumbies fan, but like just lived for Saturday sport, drive us around.
Yeah.
Which I always really appreciated. Never pushy though, and knew his limits.
Yeah.
So he's not giving me advice. You know,
No.
he's deferring to the professionals for sure.
Yeah, I got a coach for that, Dad.
Exactly, yeah. But he used to always say stuff like, I remember he'd be like, at a school kind of, I'd run the 1 and the 2 and then that'd be it. Nobody ever wants to run the 400. But he'd always just kind of be like, oh, it's just really disappointing that you don't test yourself out in the 400. So it'd be like that sort of thing. Like, not overbearing, not pushy, but just like, oh, you know, I thought you were sort of
put
made
the
of
worst
stronger
card of all on you, the disappointment card.
Just have a crack. Test yourself. You're like, fuck, mate, I'm going to state for sprinting.
How do you think you'd go at the 400? Like, do you have the engine for it?
I've run a 400. I ran it a few years ago. I ran a 47.17, I think.
How's that suck up? I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, 43, low 43 is the world record.
Yeah, like 43.0.
If you're sub 44, you're serious.
Yeah,
Like,
you're a
like
bit of an
elite.
athletics. You're like I wouldn't say low key, but maybe a little. You're an athletics buff. You like.
I don't mind it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
You're throwing
mind
out fucking world records left, right, and
Yeah,
centre.
yeah, I don't
Like, what
mind
is
it.
going on?
I used to run like I
Yeah, but when you were 9. Like,
I know, but it's just like it.
Do you hold a record in Dubbo? Is that what you?
It was Parks. I don't think I've got it anymore, which is devastating. I'm pretty sure Jibbler's reached out and like, nah, bro.
Nah, it's
gone.
gone. That
Yeah.
thing's gone.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But like, if let's say you were better at the 400, would there be part of you that was just like, I can't be bothered to train for that?
You know, I don't mind the training for it. It's pretty grinding, but I mean, I just think people tend to start with the 100 and work out from
Yeah.
there.
Do you run
know.
the 2?
From time to time. I want to get into a bit more.
Yeah.
It's good to have that range, I think. But yeah, the 400's tough. So I ran it once at the Sydney Track Classic against actual, 400 guys and went out. the only strategy I have is just to run flat stick, balls to the wall for the start, and inevitably you die in the back end. So I got to 350 and I was ahead of the pack and thought, there's a bit of prize money in the race. I thought, easiest money I've ever made. And with 50 metres to go, I just died so hard. Like 5 guys ran through me. I had the piano on my back and then just went straight to the bathrooms and was throwing my guts up.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it like? Do you have that feeling even in 100, like where you can be out in front and just sort of feel yourself get run down? Like,
that's a terrible, terrible feeling.
I can imagine.
It's a terrible feeling because it's like there's this point where you hit your top speed and then everybody sort of decelerates, but you want to decelerate the least, if that makes sense. I mean, when you feel guys come through, you stress out, you tighten up. That's when it's all over. And it's this like slow motion feeling of just being just chopped down, and it sucks.
You say that everyone reaches they reach their
top speed
at the same point. Where is that?
It's a little bit different for everyone, but it's like more or less around that sort of 60 metre mark, 50 to 60 metres.
What's the kilometres per hour you're doing at top speed?
I don't know, but I think the best velocity I've ever hit is like 12 metres a second. So I don't know, Dave, can you convert that into kilometres an hour?
12 metres a second.
Well, it's not. That's
pretty wild.
That's moving. If you can try and work that out, I have a lot of faith in Dave. I don't necessarily.
Hey, look, I'm not going to sit here and.
43.2 kilometres an hour.
Hey. No, yeah, I'm sure you did, mate.
Well done.
It's a simple Google search. I know that to be a fact. I've done it.
You may have done it before.
Yeah, I've done it before for sure. I've done it whenever they publish like football players kilometers an hour.
Do you reckon they're bullshit?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Or I mean, they're not gold standard.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all GPS data, so it's not gold standard.
Because I've seen a couple of like 40. I swear I've seen some 42, 43s out of like Addo Car.
Nah, dude, I'm pretty sure they're all like high 30s.
Nah, I'm pretty sure there's 40s.
I don't
Maybe
think
I'm
so.
wrong.
No, look, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they're like the high 30s in the NRL. I've never seen anyone do 40. But again.
Fastest speed this year was Addo Car, 38.7.
Yeah. Sure.
Are there any of those NRL boys where you're like, they could be sprinters? Like, what do you think about like someone like Jason Saab, who's just fucking humongous?
Oh, there's a lot of talent for sure, and that's the thing in this country, right? Like a lot of the sporting talent gets split between so many different sports, so many different codes. There's some massive talent out there for sure.
Is there one that you'd pick though? Like if you were to run your like that you've seen where you're like they've got whether it's mechanics or just raw pace, as we were saying before, like that.
Maybe Josh Addo-Carr.
Yeah,
I mean he's got that talent for sure, but I just think the thing is it's hard with a big body. Like you got to be pretty lean and lithe. Like you got to kind of get that body mass down a little bit. I think everybody thinks sprinters are really jacked, but honestly, if you see them in person, the camera adds 5 or 10 kilos for sure. They're not big bodies really for the most part.
That is interesting actually, and like only you say like the camera does make you look jacked. Even when you came in here, I think I was thinking like you were going to be a 6'5" fucking.
No, definitely not. I wish.
Well, most sprinters are like historically quite short, right?
Is Bolt the only one that was like particularly tall?
Like Maurice Green, how tall was he? Like all those guys.
5'11", I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
You met any of those? Have you met Usain? Like, do you have?
No, I never met Usain Bolt. I'd say he was unusually tall. He really broke the mold.
Yeah.
Did it in spectacular fashion.
He did.
He did. Was he like? Was he a bit of a hero of yours growing up?
No, not particularly, because there's not a lot of parallels to be drawn. I think different context.
Yeah,
it's hard to identify with a guy like that. But it's always hard to identify with a superstar. That's what I always find. I'm much more like those. Like, I mean, obviously, he demands respect. He's the greatest ever, arguably greatest athlete ever. But I always just like those athletes that are sort of a bit easy to relate to.
Yeah. A little bit more, I'm not going to say down to earth, but a bit more everyman.
A bit more
common
for
sure. A bit more common man, yeah.
What's the lay of the land now from a sprinting perspective? That Italian I know won the Olympic Games. I can't even remember.
He got done. He pissed hot, didn't he?
No.
Who's the guy? Didn't someone piss hot recently from an Olympics?
Wasn't him.
Am I making that? I swear some motherfucker pissed hot.
Like, is it fair to say that there's a bit of a void left by Usain? Or is there...
From what, like a star power?
Yeah.
Or do you just mean from like a
Well, I'd say
pace?
there's no one guy that would be the red hot favourite.
Sure.
You know, like, but that void gets filled by a suite of North Americans, and like there's a lot of talent out there for sure. But nobody quite, he's the best ever. Like,
Were you, or how nervous are you lining up on the blocks for a Olympic Games? Like, and do you have mindset training and things like that to try and calm you in those moments?
to be honest, not that nervous. I
Really?
think, yeah. I mean, the thing about it,
Dude,
is,
I would be throwing up
Yeah.
with nerves.
Yeah, on the blocks,
100%.
onto your spikes.
All over. I'd be changing. I'd be moving. I'd be setting my blocks and then be covered in boot.
I think it's just such a short window, right? It's like that you just got to be on for 10 seconds. There's more riding on that 10 seconds. It's so cutthroat, that progression. But I mean, I'd almost be more nervous going out for, an 80-minute game where it ebbs and flows and has a bit of narrative about it. Whereas you just go out there and you either nail it or you don't. And really that determines where you end up.
Is that all? So have you always been relatively unfazed by those moments, or
No,
is it something you had to work on?
I used to be terrible going out as a kid to Olympic Park for that state level, just intimidated by the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's just something that comes with that experience and just a lot of training. It's not that hard a sport. So, like, it is, but the actual, one foot in front of the other
Yeah.
isn't that difficult. So you just go out, react to the gun and give 100% and full credit to the boys. And
Yeah, 110% if you're lucky.
Well, mate, if you start giving 120, you might have broken in 10 seconds.
yeah. Well, I need to start giving 120%.
Yeah.
That's right. But you say it's like you don't get nervous and it's sort of, it is what it is, and 10 seconds and it's over. How much will you dwell on a performance after it's run and done?
I think I'm quite good at not dwelling on stuff, just moving on quite quickly. And I think it just comes with the territory of the sport because it's so objective. Like there's no scope for referee calls. There's no scope for, things to have really gone that much more differently. It's like, it's just your preparation. It's probably like 95% of how you perform. And then that last 5% is like mentally how you turn up on the day.
How do you control the mental side of things though? Like, do you just have to, do you do mental coach shit, or do you just you're just sort of in charge of that domain yourself and just trying to, I guess, make it all?
Yeah, I think sports psych is really big.
Yeah.
And I was pretty skeptical before I saw it because I always thought I don't have any issues. Like I say sports psych when I get issues, but I actually think it's one of those things like,
What are issues like?
if I was like, I'm getting really anxious before a race,
Right,
or I'm
right,
like,
right.
I just can't perform even though I'm training really well.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anything like that. But then when I went and saw one, what I realized was I was just so, I didn't realize the depths of my own ignorance in terms of, what you can do, like what the upsides are. So I think it's viewing it as something to make you better rather than something to sort of get you to the starting line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Not something to fix a weakness. Just to make
something
you
that can make you better. So yeah, I really enjoy that side of it.
Is there any insight you can give us into what sort of thing, how they make you think, or how they make you perceive what you're doing to help you, to make you better?
Yeah, honestly, the best thing, one of the single best things that I've ever been sort of taught through sports psych is just this separation of your confidence. Confidence is so overhyped. Everybody always talks about it. Everything's all about confidence. But at the end of the day, when you're prepared for something, the confidence plays very small role. You're either sort of capable and you're competent or you're not. So it's separating that confidence from the competency, being able to just acknowledge sort of somewhat mindfully that the anxiety around performance things and whether you're confident or not, being able to separate those two things. So
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, I needed some psychology training,
When you were 9.
Well, even when I was playing tennis when I was 15 years old, and the difference between me playing doubles and singles, you just get so in your head about things.
Well, but tennis again, you're getting bitched by the opposition in tennis if you're not going well. You know what I mean? Or if you're, the unforced errors in tennis. Like tennis is,
No, but like, you know, when you go,
you don't have your head dialed in. Like
Yeah.
I think everyone's a curios, like a psychopath like
Yeah.
that. If you don't have your wits about you.
you got to have your wits about you.
My mate, shout out to Simi P, who went through that many fucking rackets as a teen. And if he wasn't good enough to go through as many rackets as he did. He just used to crack them. Remember his mum got him one for his birthday, and then that same day he wrapped it around the pole of the net. It's like,
Brand new for his birthday.
like
Yeah,
one of those-
yeah,
like
yeah.
it was a good racket as well. And you're like, for fuck's sake, dude. So then do you like, what is the emotion then on the blocks? Nothing? Calm? Cold? Like,
Yeah. Like, there's just a couple of things, 2 or 3 things you really think about, just little performance cues. And then you just try to do them well, and then you just don't worry too much about the rest of it. You know, you just can't be too attached to that outcome because it all happens so fast. And I just think, like, especially in an individual sport where it's all on you, it's so noisy. It's so noisy. So you just got to be able to deal with stuff quite quickly.
and what's the vibe with like at the Olympics when it's like, you know, the big dicks in the world are all there to like, and you're on the blocks and you're, is there any camaraderie between the sprinters, or is it very much like
Not really.
it's just very individual?
I'd say everyone's just head down, like literally just focused on their lane. There's not a lot of chirp. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of camaraderie. It's all pretty
Post-race,
it's
anything?
like deathly silent.
Yeah. Anything, like, do you get on with it, or do you have any relationships with any of those guys, or is it really just like
Like, you know,
you see them when you start, you see them at the end because you're finished, and then it's just like
yeah, it's a
later?
bit like that. You know, there are guys you got good relationships with, but I just think especially in the sprint game, nobody really gets too close. I suspect.
Do you feel like you need to have a certain level of bravado? You know, like historically, the 100-meter sprint has been, you know, full of energy and panache, and like there's sort of, you know, there's the pre-race sort of bravado and posturing like that Usain Bolt used to do. Maurice Green used to walk around with his tongue out the whole time.
Even shout out to True Protein.
Yeah, shout out to True Protein gut health product. I'm bullish on gut health at the moment.
Dude,
So.
and we'll get back to that, but gut health, can I ask a question about gut health? Like, what is that? Is that stuff good? I wouldn't mind getting into my gut health a little bit.
Well, I
Bella's
think,
always pushing good gut health on me.
Yeah, so
It's like,
does
you need to
Steph.
improve your gut health.
I think we just only know the tip of the iceberg in terms of gut health and what
Okay.
that means. So I'm hedging my bets.
And just going, fuck it, let's get good gut health. So what is that?
Let's get good gut health, yeah.
We just put that in there, shake it up.
Well, this is just like I got some creatine in here and some gut health product. So
Do I need
I
creatine
like it.
in there, or can I just pound gut health product?
I think you can just do the gut health product.
Because I wouldn't mind.
Not health advice, but
No, not an ad. Well, an ad, but not health advice.
It's not health advice, but it's not an ad.
And it's also not an ad, but it's
I think they do say, Thomas, and Rohan, correct me if I'm wrong, but the gut, the second brain.
I've heard that.
yeah,
Gut the
I've
second brain.
certainly heard that.
And this is, I'm not trying to go like vulgar here, but there's like poo particle like pills that you can have where it's like you take the poo from a healthy gut and you take it
Yep.
in a
Like
tablet.
a transplant, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
and then
heard
it
that.
makes your gut healthy.
So you're eating poo.
You're eating shit, but
Poo tablets.
in the pursuit of healthy gut.
Well, in the pursuit of greatness, Tom.
True Protein, not a poo-based protein.
No, not at all.
Despite
That
the
all
colour
sounds
of
a
the
bit too
water.
goop for me.
Oh, is that Gwyneth Paltrow goopy vibes? Like eat shit and...
I don't know. I don't listen
That's
to it,
exactly what it is.
but I suspect so. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Back to what you were saying there, Eddie.
Yes. Back
What
to what I
was
was
that?
saying. Bravado on the blocks.
Yeah. No, not really.
What
What
about let's say, what about the Australian champs, right? When you're the man, like you're the big dog there. Like obviously the international scene's a little bit different, as you said before. You know, the North Americans, the Jamaicans sort of run the show. But on home soil, you are the man. Like, do you feel more of an obligation then to sort of let them know?
Swing the dick.
Yeah.
No, not a lot. And I just don't think I'd wear it that well, throwing up signs and carrying on. I'm not about that sort of carry on. I save it up for the post-race interview.
Yeah,
think maybe
but even that,
I got
though,
more to
right?
say.
Even the post, like, because we were talking to the missile, James Magnuson, a couple of weeks ago, and he was just talking about, you know, I guess that, like, he was speaking about, I guess, the way that he had been in the past when he was a bit younger and how, you know, he copped a lot of flack and all that sort of shit. But he was also like, can you fucking cut me some slack? I'm trying to be the fastest guy in the world here. Like, it's a fucking really intense thing where it's like you're trying to be fast and there's something that comes along with that, and maybe it's psyching yourself up for the moment and all that sort of shit. So, yeah, I guess, like, coming, even if it's not before the race, but after the race, like, you're sort of jacked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, not necessarily an obligation, but is it sort of hard to control? After you've just smoked a bunch of, you know, South Australian, West Australian, Tasmanian beaters, and you've just left them in your wake, and you're just like, fucking come at me.
Yeah. That must be nice.
Smoking
beaters.
Yeah, smoking guys is nice for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a universally sought after feeling. I think when you run quick, like, it honestly feels like it's a real high. Like, you feel awesome. On the thing in the blocks, like, in the bravado, my thing is just deadpan, look straight, because they always pan past with the camera. It's not my thing. A couple of times I waved, and then I caught a look at myself on the big screen and just was instantly cringed, and then I ran bad. So I just deadpan ignore it. But a lot of guys, and this was an observation made by Gus and Rig on the Shit Show podcast, so I got to credit them, but a lot of guys will do like this one, like the number one. And it's like, you got to realise, like, you're in the prelims or the heats at the Olympics, you got to realise you can't all be number one. Like, someone's number one.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, I just
probably not
avoid
you.
You're the one.
Well, the statistics would suggest probably not.
Probably
but,
not.
I mean, yeah, so I just avoid that.
But even like, you know, you got the mullet, like, you've got a bit about you still. Like, you're not completely straight up and down nothing. I'm not saying, like, was the mullet it's a bit Larry, like, was that part of it? You know, you're running fast, you got the flying mullet.
No, and I can't really avoid that moniker now, unfortunately.
Unless you got a ponytail.
Yeah.
Change it up.
Flying pony.
Flying pony.
It sounds better for sure, but it'd look terrible. I grew my hair out after high school. It was a disgrace. I'll never go back there.
You grew your hair out after high school?
Yeah, it was terrible.
So we have had the pony years.
Yeah. No, not a ponytail, sorry. Never a ponytail. No, certainly not. But,
did you get the mullet where, like, I guess, like, in truth, you only came onto, personally for me, my radar when this is the Olympics. Did you have the mullet, like, was the mullet something you did for the Olympics, or were you just always a mulleted gentleman?
No, not always, but I think they were starting to come back into vogue that year. So some point during that year, I would have acquired it.
It's odd.
Thanks. It's a privately educated sort of mullet, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not dirty.
No, it's
I've seen dirtier.
For sure.
Put it that way.
Yeah, well, it's a privately educated. That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think you got to be self-aware at the end of the day.
absolutely.
So
Definitely. What was the moment like when you ran? What's the qualifying time for the Olympics firstly, and when did you run it?
it was for Tokyo. It was 10:05, and I ran it in Brisbane at a meet, Brisbane Track Classic, and I ran 10:05 on the dot. So I was pretty pumped with that.
That would have been a nice feeling.
Yeah, it felt awesome. I had I think it was that race. I was chewing gum before the race, and I got stuck with it. And I had it in my mouth, and as I ran, it fell out halfway through the race.
Oh, really?
And I went back searching for it because
Lucky gum.
No,
I
I didn't keep
chewy
it
on the track.
I just felt bad that someone's going to step on that.
Chewy on the track.
Chewy on the track.
It's a hazard.
What and
Like
what's
Mario
is it?
Kart.
Is it 10:05 for? Where are we going next? Paris.
For Paris, no, it's gone to 10:0 flat, I think. Or not? Yeah, 10:0 flat. But
Really?
yeah, they've introduced this sort of tennis style world ranking system, so they're trying to push people to qualify through that, which
As
is a
opposed to
significantly
the
easier.
time.
Yeah. So they only want the top 20% or whatever to qualify on time, and they want to push people into the world ranking system. So it's a harder standard, but I'd say the qualification is easier.
So how does that work for you then? Like, what does that look like? Just going to as many meets as possible? Or?
Oh, it's all about targeting the right meets, big points, like stiffer competition. Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah.
So how confident are you that you'll be at Paris?
Yeah, confident, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd like to get my world ranking down. I think I finished last year at 13th. This year I fell down a bit. I had a bit of a shocker and went to like 35th or something. I couldn't tell you where I sit right now. I try not to look at it too often. But I mean,
Don't look that up, Dave.
But I mean, I think maybe
It's on screen right now. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm confident. Like if I get good training and I remain, injury free and sickness free, like that's always been my problem is these fuck knees and just getting sick. Getting COVID, getting the flu, that sort of thing. That makes a big difference.
Is it easy to get sick when you're like a finely tuned machine?
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? Because like it's sort of like the slightest thing will throw you off.
Yeah, and just even if you're too lean, if your body fat's too low, you're just a bit more susceptible.
How much you weigh?
70. I like to compete at 77. Right now, I'm at about 79.
Sharp.
In the middle of, or at the end of hotel quarantine last year when I got back, I was like 82. That was the heaviest I think I've been.
I've been 82 before.
Have you, mate?
Yeah, a few years ago.
Long
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, well,
Hey?
yeah.
Long ago. Do you compete in those, like, are they still on the Diamond League?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've done a few Diamond Leagues. I ran a few this year.
Was that the one where they tried to sort of like have one generic competition from around the world for athletics or for sprinting generally? Is that what the Diamond League is?
Yeah,
As
it's like
opposed to like just random meets here and there?
Yeah. There's different tiering of meets all throughout Europe.
Right.
So you can kind of do the Europe crawl where you go through and you run meets of all manner of tier and ranking. But the Diamond League is like the premier circuit. So, yeah. I ran this year in Oslo and Stockholm. I didn't run very well. I wasn't in the best shape. In Stockholm, somebody yelled "go" before the gun,
And you just went.
I didn't go. Pardon me.
Hey, take your time. There's some water down there somewhere.
Yeah,
as well.
thanks.
Oh yes, there's some True Protein. We got that for you.
I didn't go, but I just thought they were going to restart the race, and that was pretty rookie because then they just called it, and I was sort of just left.
How many chance? Do you have one fault in you before you get disqualified?
No, it's just straight DQ.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
brutal.
they changed it.
And that got Usain Bolt in Daegu in 2011.
Damn.
Why did they do that? Were people trying to, like, preempt the gun?
People take the piss.
Yeah.
So I think before that it was like one per person, maybe, and then maybe it went to one per race. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it did. You had one, you could false start once, and then the second you were out, and everyone had one. So that you could be like,
Oh, so
in
you
one
could have-
race,
you could have eight.
in one race,
Yeah.
it could be called back technically 8 times.
Yeah.
Before you got to start.
People would take the piss. I don't think people would like that because you're just constantly restarting, and then also like it just blows the timetabling out. So, yeah.
Do you false start? Have you got a false start in you historically?
No, I never have.
Like
Never.
like Marty Tapau has a drop ball.
That's right.
No disrespect.
Never have. Yeah, never have.
Never have.
You know.
Oh, that's good.
What's your reaction time like?
Best ever's 0. I think the quickest you legally allowed is 0.1. I was like 0.11. Best ever.
Is that you like? What was that? Can you train for that?
Not really. It's just at training. It's like you can't really do the stuff where you like lights light up on a wall and you touch the buttons and that.
Yeah,
of
course.
Like that doesn't translate. It's all got to be like auditory.
But can you
of
do
course.
auditory training?
Yeah, sure.
Do you do it?
I'm sure there's a YouTube video of like miscellaneous starting noises, but I haven't found it. I've never looked it up actually.
Make it, dude. Come on. These
But
are
maybe that-
opportunities.
Yeah.
But so right. So you don't train for those sorts of for that element of trying to like react to a sound.
Not really. You could sort of get it incidentally.
Is there a time like from when they say set? Is there like a time they have to hit, or is it just like whenever the gun goes?
What do you mean?
Sorry. So like when they say like on your marks, get set, and then the gun goes. Is there like a specific exact amount of time that they need to take, or is that just them vibing it?
Yeah. And they're waiting for the guys in the blocks to settle before they set you.
They can hold it for
Because there's
ages.
some guys have a lot of carry on.
That's hard to get ready for.
Yeah.
So what carrying where they're just like
Yeah, they're just like they maybe they pray or they jump up or they do a hamstring stretch. I don't know. Some people run halfway down the track and they walk backwards. People carry on a lot.
does that piss you off? You ever get a bit like, hey dude, let's get this thing going?
From time to time, but I mean, generally you just get in, you focus. You really don't want to be thinking about that.
No.
But yeah, some people carry on.
Does anyone try to mad dog you in that sense? Like, is anyone trying to shout out to Simon Baker, who's been mentioned already on this show, but mentalist you know what I mean? Like try and get inside your head, and his kid listens actually.
He does. Shout out to Simon Baker, and your old man. Well,
The Parramatta
son,
fans.
Yeah, but
Son,
Apologies again to Simon Baker for assuming he had an American accent because he did it in an ad.
Yeah.
Does he not? He's got.
Well,
No,
he
well-
did it on The Mentalist.
Yeah, he did it on The Mentalist because he's acting as an American, whereas we thought he was an Aussie who'd gone to America and lost his Australian accent, which
But
we
you-
think's criminal.
You get a lot of that. That is criminal. That's actually one of my pet things that really
Well,
get me
it's
off.
it's actually a pet hate.
Yeah.
But Simon Baker, we can confirm, hasn't lost his Australian accent. He was just acting.
Yeah. Okay.
Which makes us feel better.
Yeah,
And every
checks
time
out.
that comes up, I feel the need to apologise
Yes.
to Simon for that mistake.
Now, as I was asking, do any of your opposition in those moments try to psych you out in any way? I don't know, whether it's, even if it's just them being loud, boisterous, you know. is there
Yeah.
any-
Sometimes people do that stuff. I think sometimes people try to occupy space. Some people just sit in the corner of the room and they just stare at their feet. Some
Are you
guys
all in a
stare
room
down.
together before you walk out
Yeah,
the
you're in
box?
a call room. So all you're in this little call room. You're all sitting on little chairs.
For how long?
You take your trackies off. 10 minutes.
Not too bad.
It's a bit though.
Or
It's-
it drags out.
10 minutes feels like that'd drag out, especially when you're used to running, quick. Like that's what you do. 10
and it's
minutes in a
silent.
row.
It's silent. There's no words exchanged.
No music?
No music. You got to take your trackies off. So then you kind of stand there. You're all getting a bit cold. So
You're in your spikes already?
yeah, you put your spikes on.
Well, I'm just trying to work out. This is me, like, what's the floor made out of? Because if you got spikes on in, like, just a hard floor, it's like,
Nah, they rubber it up
yeah,
for sure.
like it's out the front of a pub.
Well, I think they rubber it up, Tom, knowing that you've got spikes on.
Good.
Yeah.
They've
You
thought
know
of
what I mean?
everything.
Before an international meet.
Yeah, I'd hope so. But nothing had shocked me these days.
No.
So, but in that space, then you're saying people might try to be a bit sort of alpha.
Yeah, a little bit. It just really depends. Like people just do all sorts. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty quiet. Yeah, I don't know. There have been some big personalities traditionally.
Yes.
Famously John Drummond. I did not move. If you're familiar.
No idea.
No.
Oh, right.
Who's that?
John Drummond was an American sprinter who got done for a false start, but he hadn't. And he lay down on the track, yelling, saying, "I did not move," and refusing to get off the track. I'm sure you've seen
yeah,
it.
I've seen that footage.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen that footage.
How long ago was that?
Oh,
Age
80s,
okay,
90s,
right. And had he was he well within his rights to lay down in the middle of the track? Sprinting.
well, I think it
third
came.
in
I think
Square?
that this was around this rule change, and because they put in sensor pads. Sometimes the sensor pads. Devon Allen got DQ'd in the hurdles, so the maximum, the quickest reaction time you can have is 0.1. His was 0.99. Home crowd. It was at Oregon University. He went there. His last race before he goes off to the NFL. He got a contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. Basically 0.99, but he didn't leave the blocks. But the sensor pads just detected that he'd pushed into them a little bit, and he got DQ'd. So that was super controversial. It's like, if you haven't broken, you haven't broken. Is there really an
Well, if you
advantage?
haven't left, you haven't left, right?
Yeah.
That would be my opinion, Tom.
And one that I would echo. What's it like making the Olympics? What was that experience like for you? And again, I guess off the back of that, going from, and I say this respectfully, relative sort of unknown, as you finish some big day rosé, they're calling it the greatest rosé of all time. Going from relative unknown to now you're very well known in this country, blue ticked on Instagram. What's that experience like for a young buck?
Well, I mean, yeah, track and field in Australia doesn't have the biggest profile. Just that, after the Olympic heat, my phone blowing up was just a surreal experience. Really distracting, really, really distracting. So
Yeah.
I turned it all off, but I didn't sleep a wink that night, really.
How
I
long
slept
did
a
it
bit.
take for you though to go oh, this isn't good for me in this moment? I need to not pay attention to this.
Yeah, pretty quick.
Yeah, right.
Pretty quick. Once I got back from the track. But yeah, I mean, once I got home, I realised I'd sort of developed this maybe D, upper D, low C grade fame of where people recognise you, but
Upper
it's
D, lower C. I love that.
But
That's great.
it's they don't recognise you outright. It's more you look familiar. Where do I know you from?
Yeah.
Do you run? Are you that Olympic runner? What's your name again?
Yeah.
It's like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's like after that sort of painful, drawn out interaction, they're like, oh, let me buy you a beer.
How many beers you get bought?
I got bought a few beers, which is always nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't say no.
No, fuck no.
Depends on the time of year, really.
Yeah.
I had one the other day at the Clock.
Shout out to the Clock. Sorry,
Shout out to the Clock, yeah.
It's a great
nice
people
guy.
watching it. Is the balcony back open? Last time I went there, the balcony was closed.
Yeah, it was. Oh, actually, I don't know, but it was going off upstairs.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time on that balcony.
Great spot.
What was your phone like then when it was blowing up? Like, what was your follow account? Like, did you see where it went from to where it went? Like, just in like one moment? Was it just like bang, 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 bang?
It was like overnight. It went from like 5,000 or 6,000 followers to like 60,000. So like 10x.
ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous, and like just feels so stupid. But it was one of those things. Like I think that I just had no idea how that people were really like tuning into this at home because you're in the village. It's bubbled. It was really like strict on COVID measures, so you really are bubbled from it. Aside from my phone blowing up, so yeah, the whole thing was just weird, to be honest.
Did you feel like you didn't get the proper Olympic experience because of the COVID-ness? There was no crowds, obviously. Like,
Yeah, to some degree.
I don't know whether you're in a relationship at that time, but the beds were almost anti-chong beds. I think they were at that point.
yeah,
right?
anti-chong technology was used,
Yeah.
Tom.
I think they
Cardboard
spent-
beds, I
Yeah,
believe.
they spent too much money on trying to stop people fucking, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know. Because you can just throw a doona and a couple of pillows on the floor, right?
Well, I mean, people can fuck standing up these days.
They can. They can.
Especially
and
athletic,
will.
Especially athletic people who've got fucking, pipes on them.
Mate, people will sit down next to on the wall, you know what I mean?
People will fuck anywhere these days.
Anywhere. That's what we do know. So
Yeah,
it was a waste of time in our opinion. We weren't even there.
I mean, it was no crowds. It was a shame. No minimal carry on afterwards. It was fun. I did go out afterwards. Like people would have a few drinks and stuff.
So you could.
I missed a Sunrise interview the next morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, you missed Koshi. That must have been devastating.
Yeah, I was compelled by the media department to make up for it the next day.
Yeah, sure. You got to do the right thing.
That's right. Yeah,
By Koshi specifically.
Yeah.
You don't want him on your bad side, mate. Man, he'll come for you.
Not the president of Port Adelaide.
No, exactly.
Absolutely not. So what? Did you get the tattoo?
No, it's not my thing.
You didn't get it.
No, it's not my thing.
I thought it was compulsory. No.
It's case by case.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there are some shockers.
Yeah.
There are some ones that are more tasteful than others.
Yeah.
Some which are a bit
Elegant, understated.
Less. Yeah. It's
I'd
not
like
my
to see
thing.
you get one on the shin, just all the way up the shin.
My thing is, I get it. I think if there was never a tattoo to get, it's not a bad one.
Yeah, definitely.
And I fully respect it, people who do, but it's just not my thing.
No.
I'm a big watch guy. Like, I like watches. So I got a watch. It was like
What'd you
this
get?
Olympic release watch. So that
An
was-
Olympic release watch.
Yeah. So that was my thing. I feel like it ages better.
I'm
lasts
disappointed
better.
you're not wearing it.
Yeah, I came straight from training.
What sort of what? Is it an Olympic watch or who's making that watch?
Yeah, it's an Omega. Cause they
Okay.
sponsor it
Oh,
and
okay. Right.
Yeah, so they do like a release for every Olympics. And
Hectic.
that was
And
that one, so.
only athletes get it.
No, I had to buy it.
Yeah.
But
it's more in keeping with the
yeah,
way
that's
your
much
vibe.
more. I'm also just not really a sentimental guy. Like, I don't keep heaps of kit, it just kind of takes up space. And they give you participation medallions and stuff. I don't really hold on to that.
That's tough. I'm not
Yeah.
taking that. Well, in fairness, I took one for a marathon.
What are you
like-
talking about, mate?
Yeah, but I'm not fucking. There's
How's
no
it
gold.
hanging over there, bro?
They don't give out golds in the marathon.
Well, they
Do
do.
they?
Well, the guy that won it.
Well, he
got a
deserved
gold.
it. He deserved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just you know what? I'm going to walk that back. I will take a
Yeah.
participation.
And then in the 30 to 35 category, I'm sure there's maybe.
Well, but I think like at the Olympics, I can understand an Olympian whose goal is gold, silver, bronze.
So
To
you-
be like,
so what? You get a participation medal.
It was at the Commonwealth Games.
at
Actually,
Games,
just-
not at the Olympics.
Maybe they give you different bits
Things,
and pieces, like
trinkets.
different paraphernalia. It's like it sits on a shelf. But I mean, like I said, I'm not that sentimental, so I don't really hold on to too much of it. There's a few pieces of kit that are nice. Hopefully one day, I look back on it and think it's not bad, but
Yeah.
just it's on my mind. What do they got waiting for Ned Brockmann when he trots in a Bondo's to get a participation medal?
He's got to get something, dude.
I was talking about that with the boys today. They've got to close the roads, I reckon.
Yeah. I think it'll be a Forrest Gump style sort of like...
Everyone running with him.
Yeah, big crowd forming...
Do you remember when
behind
that chick, was it Jessica... I can't remember her last name.
The sailor?
Yeah,
sailor.
the young
Jess Watson.
Jess Watson, and like the harbour was just kicking off, and all the boats. It was like it's like a Sydney to Hobart. Everyone's just following her in. Like that sort of shit needs to happen for Ned when he comes in. Whether he breaks the record or not, who gives a fuck? But like, I think he's still.
Well,
could.
he's still in it.
I think he's still cool.
He's still
what
in
I love
it.
seeing is he'll have a bad day, like 25 Ks, right?
Yeah.
And then he'll go to bed, probably get like 5 or 6 hours sleep, a good night, wake up crying, and then he'll fucking run 100 Ks back to back. He's good.
But also, at like 5:30 splits, and you're like,
Oh, it's crazy.
what is this guy made of? Like,
5:39s yesterday.
5:39. After like going, mate, this is the toughest thing. My shins are fucked. I got maggots in my feet, and I'm just like,
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't have Strava, but I Google his Strava most days just to see that straight line,
yeah,
100 Ks.
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
He's captured the nation.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Like I'm obsessed with him, and I've got no issue saying that.
No.
Absolutely 100% obsessed with the guy. I can't get over it.
Yeah. I had a
Imagine
sauna
the
with him
footage they've got as well. Like, because they're not releasing a whole heap, really.
No, there'd be doco. There'd be doco.
There should be a
guys.
doco. There
Yeah.
should be an Amazon Prime doco.
You'd hope so.
I had a sauna with him once. It was intimidating.
A sauna? Oh, is he pieced up? Or are you just saying having a sauna with Ned Brockmann's intimidating?
Well, it's just like...
I wasn't sure if you were talking about his hog, basically.
He's got to be hogged
Oh,
up.
yeah, well...
Was it
Yeah,
a
I
nude
didn't-
sauna?
Was it what?
Was it nude sauna or just a...
No,
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't. It was with Ned and it was with Harry Garside.
Oh,
And those guys are just meant... Like, they're just...
Do they know each other? Because
Yeah.
Harry's all over his socials.
well, I mean, like...
Yeah, they know each
Obviously.
other.
Did you want any more? I know you did say you were driving. We
No,
don't wanna-
I'm good. I
Okay.
drove, so yeah, cheers. Yeah, it's good by the way. Like I said, my palate isn't refined for rosé, but I drink it.
There you go.
Are we getting Australia's fastest
It's
man?
drinkable.
The tick of approval from Australia's
Yeah, no,
fastest
we are.
man?
Well, we'll put that on the website. It's drinkable.
Rohan Browning.
Yeah,
it's
it's drinkable.
drinkable. Yeah. 100%.
My dad hates rosé, and he was like, "Fucking," he had a taste, and he goes, he said something like, "It's not disgusting," and I was like, "That's what."
He had a sip of ours.
Yeah, and it was just like he goes,
Another
and
great-
but he hates rosé as well. So he's like, "It's not." What did he say? It's not disgusting, but it's pretty close.
Well, we cut out
We
the
ca-
back end and just go, it's not
It's not
disgusting,
disgusting.
Billy Birmingham.
Yeah, I think that's what we do.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thanks for coming.
Love that. So have you met Ned before?
Yeah,
Outside
saunaed
of the
with him.
sauna, but like,
Well, I mean, the
Are you
sauna.
buds?
I want to hear about the sauna.
Well, that was the only time we'd ever met and hung out. It was
How do you tee up a sauna with the great man? How's that happen?
just get my people to talk to his people and we make it happen.
That's the life you're living
Yeah.
these days.
It's Instagram DM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But this was back before he had fucking, 100,000 followers or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So,
Who
I
reaches
broke
out?
through the noise. Yeah.
Did you? So you DM him and go, "Hey, bro, you want to hop in a fucking hot sauna?"
Yeah, I can't remember what the conversation was, but we yarned a little bit and then organised it. And yeah, those guys, they're just tough, like mentally tough. Like,
Yeah.
Harry does those cold showers like every day. I don't think he's had a warm shower in a year or something.
Tom's looking at me like,
I'm into
because
that.
he's trying to flex, but he has hot showers before bed. So
I do. I have cold showers in the morning, but I do.
Yeah.
I do have hot showers at night, and I had a warm shower this morning.
So where does
I'm
that
not
leave?
exactly Harry.
Where does that
Garside,
leave you?
But I know what you mean. We did a brief chat. We want to get Harry back on here, but we did a brief one through KO, and then like a day later, I was at the lights in Bondi, and I just saw this dude like washing windows, and I was like, "What the fuck? Is that Harry Garside? That looks bizarrely like Harry Garside." And then he comes up to
Yeah.
the car and holds up the thing, and I put the window down, and we literally chatted to him like 2 days before. I go, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing here?" And he was like, once a month I do things
thing
just
that
to put
challenges
myself
him.
super out of my comfort zone to challenge me.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's pretty unreal.
It's crazy.
So did he give you windows a wash?
I felt inappropriate. It was piss and rain. I was like, poor time to do it, Harry, to be honest. The windows couldn't be cleaner right now, bruh. Stay away from my car. No, but like, the lights went and I just sort of said, see you later. But
So you just put the window up and
Well, I was a little bit fucking shocked. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, you're a weird dude.
Would also be like a funny sort of, I don't know what the word for that is, but like, you know, you interview a bloke one day and then you like allow him to wash your windows the next.
He sort of, yeah.
The Germans would have a word for it.
Yeah, they
He
would.
sort of didn't offer to clean them. Once he realised that he knew who I was, or at least recognised
the offer revoked.
it was no longer like,
He
I'll
didn't
clean
flick him
you.
some change. It wouldn't have killed you to flick him some change.
Mate, who the fuck has changed these days?
Well, that's my thing. That's always my issue. Is usually, you know, with, when guys are washing windows, like I'll absolutely get my windows clean and throw some change, but on the odd occasion often I don't. Sometimes they just do it anyway, and then you're caught in this interaction where it's like, I'm sorry, but I actually don't have.
I don't have to
change.
change. That was the reason I waved you off.
I'm waiting for
I'm
waiting for the day when you just see that little square terminal, just like
just tap a tap and go for window cleaners.
They have that at churches now, I believe, and
To donate.
I believe so. Square.
Yeah, that's.
you just what you pass around the square,
Pass the square amp.
Not an ad, but like, you know what I mean.
Square's pretty good.
Yeah.
It is pretty good.
No, I would prefer they don't clean my windows and I just give them money. Because I'm like, I don't know what unless I've got like shit all over my windows, I just prefer to give you money. Don't worry about it. Save your soap. I don't want it on the car.
Yeah,
Who the
but
fuck knows what it is? Just
Save your soap.
save your soap. Listen, they're fucking, use it for someone else.
Do
Who
you
needs a clean?
Do you know Harry? Like,
Yeah, we've chatted infrequently. I mean, we don't know each other really well, but
do you talk, the pursuit of greatness together? Is that sort of
Yeah, do you lean on each other, or not even lean on each other, but do you seek out people who are doing like similar things, right? And maybe share
for sure,
ideas?
For sure. I really like doing that. I don't know about chatting greatness. That's a
Well, they're my words, not yours.
yeah, it's a hard topic to
It's a
broach.
podcast coming out, Rohan and Harry chatting greatness.
Chatting greatness.
Yeah, but I just think, like, especially guys like that, they just got this unreal attitude and drive, and just trying to tap into a bit of that. Because in my sport, it's not so much about the grit. Like, there's days where the training is really grinding. It's hard. It's really lactate based stuff that totally cooks you, and you end up sort of throwing up and the like. But just getting some insights from these guys and what they do. Like, I saw Harry put up a story the other day about wanting to learn piano just to train his hands. And he dances and he does all sorts of things, and it's unconventional, but it's, maybe that's what it takes.
Would dancing help a sprinter?
No. No. I'm just not a dancer. I'm
On
not
a night
dancer.
out after a couple
Not even really.
of roses.
A little bit. I'll stand there doing a fist pump sort of type thing. Maybe walk in a box.
Okay.
I'll walk in a box.
Is the running man?
He can move.
Yeah, it's
Eddie
all in
can-
the hips, bro.
Yeah, right.
Eddie
Well,
can
it's
move.
all hip based.
But you can also do a bit with your feet. Your feet move nice.
Yeah, but they're following. It's like it's all
so they're
comes from
following the
somewhere.
hips. Whereas I am constantly told I dance like my mum, and that's not a knock on her. It is a knock on me.
Well, if you dance like your mum, it's sort of a knock on her.
Yeah, to a degree. But she makes what I do look good.
Yeah,
Whereas
right.
I don't. I don't look good.
You look daggy.
I'm daggy.
Yeah.
So I can understand the feeling of like not wanting to necessarily, but maybe if you practice, you'll be.
Yeah, but when am I going to practice in my bedroom? I'm not going to do that, don't get me wrong, I got the time to do it, but I'm just not going to.
You're not going to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just never been within me.
Yeah. Are there any of those sorts of things though? Any of the like left to center shit you tried, or like to help you sharpen your tools?
Tap dancing, maybe.
Nah, nothing that obscure, to be honest. It's just such a specific sport, Everything is so driven by specificity. So no.
Well,
There you go.
And you wouldn't catch me there.
no. If you
But
do,
I got full
I
admira-
wouldn't mind having a hot sauna though
Yeah.
at some point and talking greatness as well.
Yeah, look.
Like
Yeah,
next
well,
time you're in the
I
sauna with
don't mind. I
Harry
don't
and
mind
Ned.
talking greatness, and it's just you, me,
And-
Harry, Ned, Rowan
in
the
a
sauna,
sweating.
just talking about fucking being great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sauna is a very vulnerable environment. It opens you up like nothing else.
I don't know if you know this. Tom and I recently completed a marathon.
We mightn't have mentioned it twice.
I don't know
or
if we've
three
mentioned
times
it.
Since we've been talking.
Look, basically critically acclaimed acclaimed running, but we've got big on cadence, gait, reducing the load, all that sort of thing. We're big on 165 BPM. I'm curious to know what sort of cadence you look for in a race, what your gait's like, that sort of thing.
Like, I wouldn't say you're quite speaking in tongues, but it's not like within my.
So sprinting not a
wheelhouse, so to
cadence
speak.
thing.
Oh, a little bit. Well, sorry, to some degree. You want to have a fast cadence, but you want to have a long stride rate and a very brief contact time. But heart rate and stuff is not really that relevant. Yeah.
So how many do you ever measure the 100 by like how many steps you take from start
Yeah, that's
to
a
finish?
measurement, but as long as you take them, you want to take fewer steps.
Yes.
Yeah, so you want a longer.
Do you know what
stride.
the least amount of steps you've taken to finish 100 is?
I should know it.
The eyes there, I was like, I think I'll fucking stump this guy.
Yeah, you truly stumped. I actually couldn't tell you.
But
I want
that
to
is
say
something
40
like
something, but might be wrong.
Yeah, right. And is there a record for steps taken just generally? Like, is that a Usain record or?
Yeah, I
you
think
know-
Usain Bolt in the world record took the fewest steps ever. Maybe don't quote me on that. Maybe,
That's pretty hectic.
but I think he took a few. He took a few steps.
He took few.
He took a few steps. Yeah.
He took few steps. Like
He took less. No, he took few steps.
I'm
That's
confused.
the
now.
Kings.
The fewest steps?
the Kings. He's speaking the
Sorry.
Kings. He took few steps.
He took
Yeah,
fewer steps than most.
There you go, fewer.
Sure.
A few steps or few. Listen, I don't want to get bogged down in the linguistics of it all. What's it like around your friendship group, right? Like, you know, what you've done and like how do your mates react to?
Mate, they don't care.
They give you shit? They give you
Yeah.
shit. Did you, not to take it to a negative town, did you fuck up a baton change in a
Yeah,
relay
yeah.
recently?
Yeah.
Do they give
big
you
time.
shit about something like that? Like,
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
you know, like, it's obviously you don't want to do that, but like your friends always keep you
Comm games.
honest.
Comm games?
Was it in the
heat.
Comm games?
It was.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I tripped over thin air, fell over. And you ask yourself, how does that happen? Tobler knows how it happens.
Yes. Wrecked.
And maybe you are Tobler and it's 7 a.m. in the morning, nobody notices.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
maybe,
Oh, Tobler.
just maybe it's a packed stadium of jeering Brits
Yeah.
when it happens.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, everyone can be Tobler at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd that feel?
How are your teammates?
Yeah, like, are they all
Was
pretty
it the
cool?
most embarrassing moment of my life? I'd say by some margin.
Really?
By some margin.
Shit. That's
It was
tough.
just one of these egregious fuck ups.
Yeah.
Like, that I just have no explanation for, and I never will.
How are the boys placed? Australia.
It was the heat, so we should have been through smooth.
Oh.
But
The thing
were we a medal sniff?
potentially, hard to know.
Hard, but yeah, it wasn't, but
Potentially,
not
like-
like you weren't favourites or anything. It was
We weren't the favourites to win, but we were definitely in the mix. It's happened before, and I've seen it happen, and I think,
okay, so
how
not
does
with,
that-
not with you.
No, it's
Yeah.
happened to other people, and I thought, how does that happen? Well, now
Now you
have a-
you don't still
No, I
don't know, but you're more forgiving.
I'm much more forgiving now. But I mean, it was just so grim and like, oh man, just so noisy. But I mean, that feeling of having to get up, pick yourself up, be like, oh, what happened? Walk down the home straight, and then you got to face up to the media. It's not easy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could always see the funny side of it, but I think, and I could laugh at myself, but not the situation, because
Sure.
what I felt bad about was like I had just so egregiously fucked this up for the team. You know, you don't, because it's not really a team sport, the 100, but you come together for the relay. And for some of those guys, like they were there for the relay.
Yeah.
And I was responsible for that. So yeah, it was
That's
pretty
tough.
brutal. But the boys were really good about it. I'm sure they were pissed, like they had every right to be pissed.
Yeah.
But to me, they were good about it, so I just appreciated that.
That's nice.
Yeah. But you know, my mates give me shit about it all
They
the time.
do.
Like, and it's just like this trite old joke as well. Somebody tripping over.
Yeah, you are Tobler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You two are very similar.
Good to know you got a bit of bloody Olympian about your Tobler.
Yeah. You take the benefit in that, mate. There's a lesson there.
Yeah.
There is a
But they,
lesson there.
you know, they dig into you a bit in the media. They're pretty good. But
What's
there are
that
a few
like?
comments
That's what I was
made.
interested to know. Like, just your like, because the media again, right? You have like the the darling of the media, but then you have the side where they talk a bit of shit.
Well, I feel like the chop down's coming. It's coming at some point. There are a few comments, amateur hour, but I don't disagree with it. So, I just sort of didn't mind because it's like, well, you're right.
Yeah, you can
That
cop
was
it. You can cop
very
it.
amateurish. Yeah.
Hey, how much do you train for the relay? Like, I remember at school, you'd go out the back before the race
Well,
and
you practice your baton changes.
You do some baton changes, but it was brief training. Like, do you spend days, weeks, months?
There are like camps intermittently throughout the year. Around the guys are all in different states, so you pull everyone together. It's not always easy to get everybody together. People on different training programs and things. So, but I mean, I've been involved in the relay since 2017. So that was the other thing. Like, I was quite experienced in the relay. Like, I was probably the most experienced guy on the team in the relay. So, it's like not elder statesman by any stretch,
But the big dog.
Well, just your experience. I'd run the individual.
You've changed the batons many times.
Passed the baton many a time.
You tripped getting it, right? Were you bringing it home as well?
Yeah.
Were you winning at that point?
No, we weren't winning, but we would have progressed quite easily.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, but
Hey, it is what it is.
it is what it is.
So what's what then now? Like, I guess. But so you've got the Olympics coming up, right? So like that's the next massive goal. But there's things in between there? How do you work on like when do you qualify for the next Olympics, or when is that sort of
About a year out
okay?
is when the window opens.
So next year.
Yeah, after the World Champs, which were in Budapest.
What time of year
What
are the World Champs next year?
Early August.
Early August.
Oh, sorry, late August.
Okay.
Late August. Yeah.
And what are your goals? What are your hopes? What are your dreams?
You got to be in the final. You got to go top 8 to have a sniff.
Yeah.
Because the way it progresses so cutthroat, like you got to be in the final to just be in the mix. So I want to get there and then just see. I'm interested to see how this year shapes up. Like, I needed a long stint of training just to get fit, work on a few things, get the body right, which is what I lacked last year, like that consistency, like just kept getting injured, kept getting sick. Made a few bad strategic calls around competitions, and then altogether I had an okay year, but it wasn't a spectacular year.
What are the strategic calls around comms? Like, what's that mean? Like,
just like
picking the wrong ones?
Should I go and travel here and compete, or should I stay and train and get a bit of work in? I chose comps as a bit of a strategy, which was something we were trying out. It didn't quite work for me. So it's all just this like living and learning process.
You're saying before, it's like, it's sort of, I think you said like old man's game. Like, is there an age when sprinters peak predominantly or historically?
Yeah, maybe like 26 through to sort of 29 around there. It just depends. Like, it's individual. So I think after Paris, I'll be in my peak years. But I'd like to get things moving, get things happening.
For sure.
How many
Next
more
season.
Olympics do you think you've got?
I don't know.
Perfect world. Paris, obviously, and then
Paris.
then we're 2028.
LA.
LA.
Paris, I'll be 26. LA, I'll be 30. Brisbane, thereafter.
34.
34, I'll be getting on a bit. I will be the elder statesman of the...
Oh, you'll be old, bro.
Yeah.
You'll have a bad back. You'll have hair as grey as Eddie.
Yeah, you will.
Have knees worse than you've got now.
Yeah, so we'll just see. I think I'll play it by ear after LA, but I definitely have full intentions of going to LA. Just one of those things. I think if I'm getting better and I think I can be one of the best guys in the world, then I'll keep doing it. But I just think like that competitor in you doesn't want to. You don't want to just go and get run out in heats.
Yeah.
Run out in semis. Like, what's the point?
Mm.
Can I be vulgar for a second?
Yep.
Yeah, please.
You're running around in some very tight attire. And we do know that this...
Lycra.
Lycra.
Or is it still lycra? Or is it more of is it a modern blend of,
Materials.
fabrics?
Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just assume Lycra, but
Yeah.
it could be...
Tom, you speak and then I'll...
No, that's all right. I mean, I guess we're, as a nation, in our recent history, we've been sort of championed by dudes that are fucking hogged up, or that's hogged up,
Yeah. Are you asking if I...
I just want to know do you prime do you prime before you get out there? Is there some sort of an exercise you can do that maybe brings a bit of blood into it, or are you just generally, hogged up and, you can get out there and get into your work?
Nah, there's no priming.
Do blokes prime? Do blokes prime?
Do you see blokes in that 10 minutes before you get out there? Is anyone sort of priming?
Never seen it. I mean, you see guys rubbing deep heat into their legs.
And
so
we don't
maybe
know
they
if it's
inch up a
deep
bit.
heat.
Maybe they just inch up a little bit.
I think that.
But I couldn't tell you. I've
Maybe it's not even
never
deep
witnessed
heat,
it.
though. Maybe it's priming.
Penis pumps, are they used? Are they?
Can't say I've ever witnessed it.
No.
Is it illegal?
I don't.
Would
think
that be
it'd
considered doping?
advantageous. Huh?
Would that be considered aesthetic doping?
Aesthetic doping?
Yeah.
Even
I'm not sure that's a thing.
Can you have Viagra?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
I'm shocked you don't know. Is there how strict do you have to be in terms of monitoring the things you can and can't take around doping and all that sort of shit?
Really strict because and I take supplements, dietary supplements. I got a dietitian. Shout out to Jess.
Shout out to Jess.
Shout out, Jess.
Jess looks after me.
She got a business. You want to shout her out?
Yep.
What is it?
Jess Spenlove, Health Performance Collective.
Bang.
Bang.
Check them out.
So Jess, thanks for all your work. But yeah, mainly they're just supplements geared, like fish oils and iron, if my iron's low, that sort of thing. I use True. Not an ad, but yeah, I bend for my corporate masters.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys would know about that. Yeah.
We know all about that.
But sometimes you bend more willingly because they just put out a good product.
Bro, I bend willingly. We bend willingly here because we only bend for the best.
We bend for the best.
Yeah,
I think
that's
there's a lesson in that. Bend for the best.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I use like creatine, I use whey protein, I use a gut health supplement, electrolytes, that sort of thing. So,
but do you ever get is there ever, I don't know, I guess, even if you say someone's buying your beer, obviously it's pretty fucking straightforward, right? Someone's just buying your beer. It's not, but do you ever get wigged out by things like that where you're like,
for sure.
You might just have something that's got something in it, or even a creatine. I've just
Even the swimming.
but from following the UFC, right?
If somebody bought me a beer but I didn't say it poured,
you'd be
if it's a really good mate, yeah, no problem. But if it's sort of someone, a stranger, I'm not going to take it unless I've seen it be poured.
fuck, you just had our rosé, mate.
Because you just don't know.
Well, we did see us open it.
I saw you open the
bottle.
bottle. Yeah,
That's true. That's a good point.
But you did what do you look at? You're looking at who was it? Who was the Australian swimmer?
Shayna Jack.
Shayna Jack. She maintains her innocence, and maybe she is, but she got rubbed out for 2 years for minute amounts of some sort of
SARMs, I believe, which I think exist in some supplements. So when it comes to the supplements, what is so crucial is that some companies like True do independent third-party batch testing. So they test for contaminants, because the issue can be you get a whey protein powder and it's all good on the label, but it's the manufacturing's outsourced in maybe it's in a Chinese factory or something. It's they've just put through this get jacked plus supplement that has growth hormone or something.
Yeah.
And then the conveyor belt's not cleaned, your product comes on and it's contaminated in the process. It's but they just have this strict liability policy where it's if it's in your system, you're responsible for it. So arguably in that situation you haven't done anything, you haven't committed any sort of malfeasance.
No.
But you're still held responsible. So you got to be really careful.
Do you get tested often?
Yeah. Yeah, it's ad hoc. It depends. The system's meant to be random. I think it's random targeted, but yeah, it depends.
Do you ever get has there been any ones where it's 3 a.m. or something? They're knocking.
Nah, it's not like that. It'll be around comps, or you get to this level where you have to log on this app where you sleep every night, an hour period a day that you got to allocate, and then if they come and you're not there during that 1 hour period, you get a infraction, and if you get 3 within, I think it's 2 years. You just get an automatic ban.
Really?
Yeah, for 2 years, I believe.
So they'll test where you interesting. Could I run something by you? 2024, Paris. I feel I see you making the final. We've got to go big then, I think, as a nation. You need to send a message to the world. What if we rolled out the old Kathy Freeman, the head to toe with the head, but on the back we have a mullet.
So we cut out the back.
Cut out the back.
Cut out the back so you can pop it out.
So you pop it
I
out.
like that.
What do you think? If Athletics Australia come to you and they go, we want you to put this on, what are you saying?
I'm not sure that'd be aesthetic doping. I think, and I'm not sure if that technology is now defunct.
Oh, really? Is
don't
that
know.
no longer good?
Well, I've never seen it since.
No one is doing it.
Yeah, but it's sort of like that thing, like you don't want to replicate greatness.
Yeah.
But if you're in a position to do so,
And also, if
and
you
the
put your
nation
own,
calls upon you,
putting your own spin.
Well, I
on
think
it.
if the nation called for it, I'd sort of be compelled. It would be, yeah.
Does your hair fuck with your speed? Like, could you shave that thing off and like, would it make a difference?
I don't think it'd make a difference.
it's not like swimming. People wear fucking huge chains and shit.
That's true, actually. I'm
People
almost
run
like,
in
why would
chains.
you do that?
All
That'd
the
be
blokes run in singlets. None of them like.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you. I'm sure you'd have arm hair.
No,
if
so
you-
yeah, but I mean, I'll show my legs and my arms and stuff. But it's mainly like the.
Do we have
massage
do we have a razor sponsor, or is this
No, we don't.
You a 3-blade, 4-blade, 2-blade,
or a
I'm
big
a-
moose?
or a
I'm a-
moose?
I've been a Gillette Mach 5,
Best
Yeah.
man can get though, so.
but I mean, I'm not. I'm not married to it.
No, and then if someone comes along,
If a lucrative razor blade deal were to present itself,
yeah,
But would you ever like go below 5 blades?
yeah, I've had to on occasion. If I've been in a hotel room with like one blade,
yeah,
Yeah.
You
And
might
did you
have to
find that highly uncouth?
yeah,
But you got to work for it,
Cuts
then, don't you? Yeah.
cuts everywhere.
That's a fucking. You got to go the big lift trying to get hair. Are you a hairy guy?
No, fortunately not.
That helps.
From that perspective.
Yeah, Eddie's fucking. Well, it just wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't be able to. Like there, I mean, you look in Eddie's chest. If you fly over Eddie's chest, there's like fucking Amazon tribes in there. and
Well,
shit
that's
that have been
why
contacted.
you could argue, Tom, strongly in a court of law that's why I lost my speed. Got hair, lost speed.
Oh, you reckon the hair has slowed you down? The uncontacted
Look
tribes in your chest?
at the fastest bloke in Australia sitting opposite you. Not a
Like
Not
a
a body hair on him.
Siamese cat.
Yeah, smooth
smooth.
as an egg.
Smooth as, smooth as an egg. That's right. Smooth as a billiard ball, Tom.
Mate, look, I don't know if we want to waste your time anymore. We very much appreciate you coming on. It's been great to chat, and good luck with everything else. We'd like to, and I would genuinely like to just hop in a sauna one day.
Can we make that happen?
Can we have a sauna with you?
Yeah, we'll get in touch with my people, and I'm sure we can
okay.
get your people to.
But
Look,
I'm now
Our
really.
people are Dave and Tobler, so I mean, if you need them to line up a fucking sauna,
You-
trust me, you got a better chance if we do it ourselves.
the three of us, obviously, Ned Brockmann and Harry Garside,
Yeah,
talking greatness. and
Talking
we all
greatness.
just get in there and talk about being great.
yeah,
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
yeah, perfect.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a treat. I'm a legitimate fan of the show. I think I said that earlier.
Fuck yeah.
You've
I
got.
listen to almost every episode. I don't think I've ever finished one.
Well, they go a
Well,
while.
listen, that's okay.
We'll cut that bit out because obviously our advertisers will hear that. But
Actually,
no.
no, we front load all the ads anyway, so we're all good.
Well, not all of them. So we'll cut that out.
I did listen all the way through with Rabs this morning on my commute.
There we
So-
go.
There we go.
What'd you think?
Oh yeah, great. But made me self-conscious about my voice.
Yeah, I know.
Coming on today.
See, well, but like, I mean, everyone should feel self-conscious about their voice in comparison to Rabs.
Yeah, he's got the perfect voice to tell you to pull your head in.
Yeah, right. He said there were a couple of times when we were talking as well, where like he'd say something and I'd immediately sort of like shit myself for a second and be like,
I'm being scolded.
when you hit him up about something, when you asked him about commentating and like how it sort of changed.
Yeah, he goes, where'd you hear that?
He goes, where'd you hear that? And I'm like, oh my God.
I just go, it threw me so off. I was like, and then I'm like sort of seeing Tom look at me like that. And then I'm like, fuck, am I in trouble? And then, and then I'm like, wait.
We did have this conversation with someone.
I go, Ray Hadley told me. And he's like, I'm like, I wigged the fuck out
And
for
then
a moment.
but then it moved on and it was like, oh, thank God.
There was a couple of
Thank
those
fuck.
moments. He goes, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, he doesn't say it like that, but you know what I mean.
But the ones where you ask a question and then he's like, I don't know what the fuck you just asked me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing something right. And I need to now try and like ask this again. And I'm like,
Yeah. There was a little bit of that.
Nah.
But he's a
He's a legend. He's
and
a good dude.
you're absolutely right about the voice thing. him speaking is just like, I just would like to follow him around and see him order a coffee and like go to lunch.
Dude, what he needs to do, like if you're thinking about what that, like he's retired, right? But just fucking record like meditation apps. Him, Gil
Or
McLaughlin. Audio books.
Very lucrative, I think.
Dude.
Very lucrative.
Just,
Are you born with a voice like that, or do you just smoke darts?
I think he...
My regret in that interview is not asking that question.
Yeah.
What was your voice like pre-voice dropping? What happened when it dropped?
Yeah.
Did it come on gradually? Like,
because that's
dumb
really
for
what...
us.
That's sort of the hardest probably thing. Like we'll probably come away from this as well and be like, how the fuck didn't we ask him about that? You know what I mean? Like you just forget these things. You raced a horse. That's what I do want to ask.
Yeah.
I know I just was wrapping you up, but now I want to know about racing a horse. Yeah. Did you beat the horse?
Yeah, but it was, I mean,
so you got
cats
the
out of
dub.
the bag. It was rigged.
You beat a horse?
It was rigged.
Yeah, it was rigged.
Well, how's that happen?
Well, it was handicapped, but I mean.
But it's a fucking horse, Rohan.
Yeah.
Like, you still beat a horse.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? That's
How much did you beat the horse by?
It was tight of the line, but I had a fair head start.
But it was tight at the line, so if you'd run poorly, you wouldn't have won. So you did get the dub.
Yeah.
How's the track? What are we talking? Heavy 10?
I was told I was concerned about rolling an ankle.
Did you put the long spikes in?
Nah, I was in football boots. I was in footy boots.
Footy boots.
Shout out to Puma, sent me a pair of footy boots.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which I hadn't worn in a long time. But I was told it would be like a putting green. And then I don't know why I believed it.
As in the type of turf you're running?
The turf, yeah. But when I got out there, it was like turf that had been run over by 500 horses. I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, thanks.
So you were lied to.
Yeah, I was led down the garden path.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah.
And what was that to launch? Were you launching like fucking? Were you launching?
It was to promo the Everest last year. Yeah. So it was good fun. I went out to Everest that year, and it was I took my housemates out, and it was good fun.
So you're living with housemates? Oh, you're 24. I forget. Yes. What's 24?
How does
world
that
at your
work?
feet. Yeah. What's going on? Are you paying all the rent?
No.
Good.
Yeah.
But like, if you've got a meet going on and the boys get a bit carried away and they come back and rip and tear, like, what's the lay of the land?
Do they start watching your highlights at 4 a.m? Are you like, bruh, fuck off? I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, they do. Not at 4 a.m. Not at 4 a.m, but they've put them on. They've put them on when I'm being drug tested. At 6 o'clock in the morning.
So what? Someone comes over and they put the highlight. They put your
yeah. They always do it,
dude. That's hilarious.
It's annoying.
That is so good.
That is good.
That's fantastic.
No, they're good. They're good blokes.
They're good,
and we've been living together for a couple of years, and we have some good laughs, and yeah, it's good.
And you're in Bondi now. Now you have a partner as well, don't you?
Yeah, I got a partner.
Is that
Alex.
A long term?
Yeah, it has been
pre glow up, like as in pre
since 2018.
Okay, nice.
Since 2018.
Any relationship advice for D or Dave, who's just got into a relationship? His missus is living with fucking 40 people in.
Yeah, so I've heard you guys talk about this. What is it really? How many people?
12.
Oh, okay.
No, is it 13? There's a bloke out the back in the shed.
It's 12. We thought it was 10.
Is it
the
a
bloke out the back in the shed and the landlord in the garage bumped it up to 12.
Is it a commune?
Well, that's what we don't. There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relationship advice. I wouldn't recommend that. It's not great for your relationship necessarily.
Yeah,
Yeah, the added pressures of having to run fast all the time. I mean, look, yeah. How was your European trip?
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah. Best 5 days of your life.
He's ripping these fucking Indians, right?
There you go.
I love that.
Perfect.
No relationship advice.
Nah, fuck it.
Don't worry about him,
Don't
mate.
worry about him. Mate, thanks again. Really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and hopefully we do get in the sauna sometime soon.
Yeah, it's been a treat. Thanks very much.
Legend. Thanks, mate.
Could you two just not talk anymore?